Operational mode run. Last error none. Inverter messages no errors. I think it's ready to go. Finally. So here's the throttle. No, nothing. Oh, okay. Now I got a throttle error. Oh. Okay, welcome back to getting this Tesla small drive unit to work with a open inverter board. If we look on here, basically this drive unit is a motor, an inverter, gear reduction, and a differential all built into one unit. So I had already taken off the inverter and I installed that open inverter board so that instead of having to be reliant on all the other equipment in a Tesla, we could essentially just run throttle connection and a few other things straight to here to be able to control it. Those are all connected at this low voltage connection here. And since the last video, I got some high voltage cables from just mail order from a junkyard. Not high voltage right now. I'm just running this at 48 volts as a little test. So I got a couple of batteries on here and a disconnect. Now this might look like a mess, but I was just using whatever wires and other switches and parts that I had. But I do have it wired up correctly, according to the information that came with it. This same info is available at the Open Inverter website. So for the high voltage, I have it wired up with the contactors. And then for the low voltage stuff, I have the pinout for the harness. And then the other thing that was really handy to go along with that was actually a particular image. This right here was really useful for knowing what goes where. So I got all of this hooked up together. And then when you give power to the inverter, basically you can connect to it with a web page. So right now I've got a switch that would be like a key switch in a car. It's sending power to the inverter over here, so that logic board is working. It's got a Wi-Fi inside of it, and it is sending that out to this web page. And I am not a master of any of this. I'm just sharing what I'm learning as I go. The first thing is up with the networks. The network name is just inverter. Connect to inverter, and then the address is just a IP address number, and then that gets you into this interface here. On the left-hand side, dashboard is kind of what's going on right now, whether it's running or not. Parameters is kind of where you change all the settings. There's a lot of them. It's not real obvious what they mean. Fortunately, on the wiki, there's kind of a description of all of these sorts of things, and most of them are underlined. And if you just point at it for a second, it'll give a little pop-up simple explanation. Now, if we go to spot values, that's basically reading, not necessarily what a setting is, but just the general information based on all those settings and what's going on right now. So let's look at one that I know what it means. Right here we've got pot, and it says pot value max 4095. And it's also saying the value at this moment is 1009. Now I've got this set up down here. It says auto reload. So it's basically like it just refreshes the web page every couple of seconds. So if you make a change, it does take a moment to happen. But if we look at pot, that actually refers to the throttle. You know, just like it used to be common that a potentiometer was used for a throttle, so it's called pot. So it says 1008, but let's say I just crank the throttle. and I'm going to hold it down in the maximum position, and after it refreshes, it now reads 4,095. And if I try to hold it somewhere in the middle, give it a moment to refresh, it should, okay, now I got 2576, and if I let go, it should be back down to about 1,000 or so, 1,007. So this shows you not quite real time. I mean, it doesn't refresh that fast, but essentially real time of stuff, you know, what the values of different things are. Another one I wanted to check, SELDIR, selected direction. So I have a switch hooked up that it's a on-off on switch, and I have that rigged up for forward, neutral, reverse. So if I flip that into the first position and give it a second, that should switch to forward. There it is. And if I flip it back off and then to the other position, give it a second, it should say reverse. Another feature we have here is plot and gauge. So let's say I'm not sure if I have the throttle hooked up correctly. What I can do is in the setup here, I can add a field to plot, and it basically, you know, it's a bunch of those spot values essentially. So if we select pot and start plot, now we got a chart going on. It looks a little funky because we're at a really low, so the scale is kind of messed up. But I'm gonna just flip the throttle one way or another a couple of times and kind of ramp up, slowly ramp back down. So now we have a graph showing us our information. Again, it's not, you know, the refresh rate isn't as good as real time, but it's good enough. And another thing with all this that's interesting is that there is a gauges feature. So if we click that, it'll take whatever is going on that chart there, but instead make it into a display of gauges. Unfortunately, the refresh rate on here, it's not really all that useful. I mean, probably for things that change less frequently. But here, an analog meter for displaying what the throttle's at. You know, it doesn't respond in real time. So for a fast moving thing, probably not so great. If something like temperature, it'd be perfect. You know, you could maybe just have an iPad in your car, have this connected, and, you know, have a cool digital gauge. There's some other features that I have not gotten to yet. Data logging, CAN mapping, I have not done any of that. In the Wi-Fi settings, you can change it. You can change the network from inverter to something else. You can change the password. Files is basically just the files for the web page of the whole display here. So let's go back up to dashboard. So right after getting everything connected up, getting my high voltage cables connected, all that, it wouldn't run right away. You know, I had a couple of errors. I had to figure all those out. That took a while. One of the errors was about throttle. In the last video, we kind of talked about how the Hall effect throttle works and using voltage, and that turns into a number in the software. But exactly what those numbers are might vary from one throttle to another, you know, depending on the make and model, and the physical connection inside and everything like that. So to set up the throttle at openinverter.org, wiki, Tesla setup, FAQ, scrolling down to the bottom, how do I set up my throttle? Well, basically, we use that, the spot number, what's it called, the spot value, to check the potentiometer at minimum and maximum. And then we use that to punch in for in the parameter section of the web interface. So here at spot values, got to make sure I'm connected to the inverter. If you're going between the internet and the inverter, make sure you know which network you're on. We go to spot values, pot 6001 is our potentiometer sitting at nothing. And then we'll go to maximum and refresh it. And it should be 4090. Okay, there we go, 4095. So now we'll go to the parameters. In parameters, we got pot min and pot max. I've got 4095 that I put in here for my pot max, but if we look, it actually only allows a range of 0 to 3500. So we will put it to 3500. But now it knows at 1000 we're at nothing, at 3500 we're at max, and when I crank this all the way it's past max, but it's gonna basically that's going to be headroom at the top end. And then you want to make sure to save parameters to flash when changing settings. Parameters saved. There's a lot of different settings to change in here. Don't change any of them unless you know what they do. The one thing I'm not so sure about yet is I don't have regen working. And frankly, I really have no idea why. I thought at first that maybe it has to do with the fact that I don't actually have a brake pedal connected. Modern fancy brake pedal would basically be just like the accelerator, 5-volt Hall effect sensor, basically a second throttle for controlling the regen, but I should be able to get it working with just a brake button, or I think even just releasing the throttle. So I don't have it working yet, but I'll go through all the parameters and I'll figure it out. So right now, status none. That's actually a good thing. Had an error, but I don't now. That's fine. We're basically running a 48-volt system right now. So we should basically be ready to go. I'm going to hit this start button. We hear that positive main contactor close. It says inverter started, so we should be ready to go. So in theory now, if I turn this throttle, the motor should start spinning. I'm gonna try to do it pretty minimal. And I'm getting nothing. Why am I getting nothing? I don't see any errors. Oh, you know what? We forgot to set our direction, and we could actually do that by checking in the spot values menu. So I'm going to set this to forward. And now with it set to forward, and if you can hear that, that's probably why I got this motor so cheap. It's crazy loud. I hear a growl, I hear a click. I'm pretty sure that growl is a bad bearing, and that click, I don't know. That click seems to happen once every revolution. So maybe it's a tooth on the ring gear on the differential. The other thing is I don't have any regen going on right now. So this thing kind of spins forever. It's got a heck of a flywheel effect. So I'm going to have to do some work to figure out what I need for regen, which would be nice to get that to actually slow down when I've let off the accelerator. And Probably going to have to take this whole thing apart, see if I can replace that bearing, see if I can notice anything else wrong with it or not. And in other news, I got some axles. These two shorter ones, these are from a 1970s Volkswagen bus. You can see they're a little shorter. They have this bolt-on connection on both ends. I got this from a Volkswagen enthusiast through Facebook Marketplace. And then the longer ones, these are from a Tesla Model S. I got these from a junkyard. And on here, they're longer. It's a thicker axle. And then it has the style connection on the wheel side. And that style connection on the transmission side. And there's your banana for scale. Oh, so I'm hoping that with these I'll be able to figure out how to make some axles actually connect from the motor out to the wheels. So that might be chopping and splicing these. Maybe it's taking a Model S axle and shortening it and just cutting different splines in the one end. I don't know exactly. I've never done axles before. Or maybe I can use the original axles, but with some sort of like just a little custom adapter. We'll see. If you got ideas for best way to do that, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to just keep chipping away at this project.